Hello everyone, I am Abid Hassan, Senior Assistant Editor with ETHR World, and please join me in welcoming Seema Unni, Head of Human Resources at Fidelity Investments India. Welcome to this exclusive video interview, Seema.
Thank you so much, Abid. I'm really pleased to be here.
Thanks a lot. Today we'll talk about skilling. Today we'll talk about learning, and I believe skilling was always important. And in the last 1 year, we all have understood the significance of upskilling and reskilling. And if we want to stay relevant, we need to know new things. We need to learn new things. Today, if you are not learning anything, then you are not growing, but you are dying. And keeping pace with the necessities of next gen workforce is the need of the hour. We'll discuss all this and much more with our esteemed guest from Fidelity. Welcome to the show once again, Seema.
Thanks, Abid.
Without further ado, I'll start with our questions. So,
Sure.
Seema, my first question to you is, to come out stronger from the COVID-19 crisis, there is a growing emphasis on workforce, upskilling and reskilling. How do organizations decode the new age learning techniques to equip employees for the larger transformation? What are your views?
Yeah, so the way I would put it forward, Abid, is a little bit of the context as well as what we are doing in Fidelity, right? For us, the last 1 year has been all about synergizing the digital skills and the human skills in learning. Because as you can imagine, in the ecosystem that we exist today, the pandemic taught us a lot. It taught us how we need to invest, in our employees' development, wellness, as well as just digital acceleration. Fidelity as a company is going through extensive digital acceleration, and we are studying the market. We work with academia, and we are extremely invested in this whole, digital skills as a currency. We work extensively with leading industry partners in our learning platforms so that we are able to provide an integrated approach to skills. We start with the assessment of skills. We then move on to how do those skills actually learn, how do they link up to development paths. So we actually have very customized development paths depending upon the skill assessment. And then finally, it's really about career mobility and vitality. We have a concept of career vitality from an employee standpoint in Fidelity, which is all about the employees, right? You have to energize them, you have to retain them. India is an extremely competitive market. And so how do you inspire our employees is one dimension. The second dimension that you talked about is just multi-skilling, right? Multi-skilling, thinking about what our business objectives are, and then employees going through that life cycle of training and development. So I'm happy to share more, but for us, it's an integrated approach of skills as a currency, customized learning paths, and then career mobility. And all of that together is predicated on our business strategy, which is how do we really compete in this extremely competitive fintech world.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts from industry point of view as well as from Fidelity's point of view. So my next question is, there is a lot of content and research available on new age learning methods.
Yeah.
What has been your experience on this?
Yeah.
How, according to you, Gen Z employees learn best?
Yeah. So, a couple of themes here, Abid. One is it has to be democratized, right? The way we think about our learning strategy in Fidelity is that it's an extremely democratized strategy, which means it's learning anywhere, anytime, and an employee can actually select and self-select into a self-service kind of learning mode. Because you talked about Gen Zs, but I would actually argue that across generations, we really have our own diverse learning styles. Somebody learns by reflection, somebody learns by active observation. Another person could learn by actually doing things, right? So there are very diverse learning styles. So one big theme is democratization. We have extended our learning platforms and our learning licenses to employees, not just related to the work they do, but also related to their own aspirations of what they would like to do 3 to 5 years down the line. And that is slightly different from the industry. So huge amount of democratization. The second piece really is what we call teach to lead. The famous Noel Tichy's quote, right, that leaders have to be teachers. We have to have a teachable point of view. We actually encourage a lot of peer learning. We have a program called Learning Catalysts, where anybody in the organization, right, from the recent associate who has joined to somebody who is at a top leadership level, can teach a particular program. So the Learning Catalyst and a teachable point of view is the second technique, which has been very, very valuable for our employees. And again, as I said, that's multi-generational. The third piece of it really is, special interest groups. I think when we think about Gen Zs or Gen Ys, they like a lot of social interaction, and they like this concept of blended learning. So we use the concept of flipped classroom. And what does that mean? It means, you learn something outside the class and then you come into the class and have a discussion. Unlike the traditional technique where you first, are taught something in the class and then you learn. This is a flipped classroom method that we use extensively for our Gen Zs. So democratization, really allowing our associates to access training, not just for their role, which is current, but also for their future aspirations. The Learning Catalyst program. And then the fourth, of course, is this concept of a flipped classroom. So we use all four of them as novel learning techniques, and we found a significant uptake really in our learning hours, as well as in our employee sentiment surveys, where employees give us feedback.
Great. You mentioned about learning, flipped classroom, how important learning is, and how important it has become now. But there's one thing that is very important when we work professional in our professional life as well as personal life as well. That is to balance things, to keep a balance, maintain the equilibrium, if you can say. My next question is about balancing. How will we balance evolution and innovation in learning together? What do you think? Is it possible? It is difficult? And what are the ways to do it?
So it's an interesting concept, right? What we do, Abid, is within Fidelity, and I'll give you the Fidelity context. We have embarked as a major player in the agile transformation methodology in the way we do our business. And this is across the firm, right? With agile transformation as compared to the waterfall method of kind of, developing products and services, we are absolutely moved away from that and we are in agile. So when we talk about innovation and we talk about transformation, we've already embarked on that in the last 4 years. In fact, we are even quoted in Forbes and other magazines to be a leading player in the fintech world in agile transformation. So agile transformation is the whole concept of innovation, evolution, empowerment, servant leadership, all those concepts that one has to learn, right? That's kind of the evolution and how we think about it. But as you're going through this rapid transformation, like you said, there is a balance. You have to pause, you have to step back, and you have to learn, because you can't, always be kind of moving the engine forward without any self-reflection and rejuvenation of skills. So what we have embedded in Fidelity is this concept of learning days. Learning days provides the balance where every week there is a learning day in the agile transformation model, and where employees can step back, they can pause, they can learn the skill that is required, the leadership qualities, the culture transformation. And during that day, they don't need to do anything on deliverables. They don't have to attend Scrum meetings. They don't have to, actually produce widgets on that day. So it's just for learning. That's a huge investment that we put in as a firm, because as you can think about it, I mean, it's basically productivity rechanneled into skill acquisition. That's the way I'd like to call it. So the learning days provide the balance in a very fast evolving agile transformation that we've embarked on as a firm.
And just to add on that, do you maintain balance? How do you maintain balance in learning or in professional life? Because you are being a people leader, how difficult it is for you?
Oh yes, I can tell you it is very difficult, right? So what I have done is I'm also kind of in certain agile squads where I'm a member of that squad, right? And so I kind of you know a part of my job is running a project globally, and I'm in a squad where I'm actually in a squad for continuous learning and development across the technology world. And so part of my time is spent on that squad. And then of course there are all the responsibilities as an HR leader for the site. I have to say, Abid, that what I do is I actually earmark half a day, maybe about 2 to 3 hours every week to learn. And usually I'm an introverted, silent kind of learner. And so what I do is I look at either our own website internally, which gives a lot of information on business knowledge, because it's so important for us to understand what the business is doing and how we are evolving. And then I also spend time on leadership development, my own leadership style. We get a lot of feedback as leaders on our leadership style within Fidelity, and we work very closely with an external leading company on manager effectiveness and leader effectiveness. So I spend time both on business knowledge, leadership development, but I typically earmark about 2 hours every Friday. And I free up my calendar. It's a no meeting zone for me. And it's helped me. There are days when, I have to move it to another day of the week, but I certainly earmark a couple of hours every week for that to happen.
Okay, that's good to hear. We have also done this practice in the past. We have to do it more. That's what I can say.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on from learning, and now I would like to talk to you something about the workforce,
Yeah.
which is associated with learning for sure, because we're talking about the employees, we're talking about the workforce. According to you, what are the three innovative employee training techniques that would you recommend for the current and future generation of workforce?
So one thing I would say, Abid, is one innovative technique that we are trying to use here in Fidelity is we are linking what we call a talent card of every employee, right? A talent card of every employee to the skill and the learning path. So as an employee, I can see what are some of my own development needs on my performance management and my development tool. I can see my own development needs. I can have a conversation with my manager to say, which quadrant of that development path do I lie in? And it's quite an amazing conversation because it does not focus on performance, it focuses on development. And there is a difference between the two, right? When you try to keep it together, sometimes it gets, the development portion, gets very hard to engage in. So we have something called a talent card where each one of us has a particular development spot on that quadrant. Based on that, we then chalk out our learning path. So it's innovative because as an employee, I can see my talent card in which quadrant I lie, and then I can chalk out my development path. So it's focused, it's short to medium term, and it's action oriented. Most of the times, learning sometimes cannot be applied because you don't find the opportunity to apply that learning and action it. So I think that's one innovative technique as a firm that we have and employees have. We're beginning to embark on it, but I would urge everyone, in the industry to really look at how you connect a talent kind of development spot to a training path. The second thing that we're doing a lot is is micro learning. Today, as an employee or as a leader or as an HR lead, there is so much of learning out there. The number of learning resources and information explosion can be very, very hard to grapple with, right? Sometimes you can get really overwhelmed. So another innovative technique that we are talking about is curate and consume. What that means is, as an employee, I'm going to look out for a platform or a technology space within my organization that gives me a curated set of learning offerings which I can consume. So the second piece is the innovative learning technique is how can you curate and consume? And by that, by that I mean then kind of linking it up, right? So it makes it more focused, it makes it less overwhelming. And then the third is we are creating a lot of sandboxes for testing our skills out. So somebody learns, which is really the 10% or the 20% of learning, but 70% of learning is how you apply it. So providing sandboxes, experimentation grounds where employees can apply their skills. We have something called a challenge that we do internally where, employees have to kind of solve a problem, right? They're named different things, but how do you create experimentation sandbox grounds? So I would say these are the three kind of innovative techniques that we are using. And we have found, again, some success with it, right? But there's much more to do with it. And in a virtual environment, I think we have the ability to now pivot our learning methods and platforms to a much more of a self-service mode.
You laid out the three innovative employee training techniques. I think people who are watching this, people who will read the story, definitely take some cues, and that will help them out for sure. But I know this is a very quick interview that we have finalized, but I would also like to ask you one more question. That's you can answer in one word or one sentence. What is, according to you, what's the one trend to watch out for in learning and skilling in 2021? It can be generic or it can be specific in the investment sector.
Yeah.
Your take.
I think it's hyper-personalized learning. And the reason I say that is because, as I said, every individual needs to learn at their pace, depending on their role and what their career aspirations are, or even their personal aspirations in their personal life. So hyper-personalization is going to be a big trend, considering that there is so much of learning out there.
So on that note, I think we have got what we wanted. I think all the readers, all the viewers, they have also gained a lot from this conversation. And thank you so much, Seema, for joining us for this quick interview, exclusive video interview. And thanks a lot.
Sure, Abid. It was wonderful meeting you and just sharing some perspectives. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot, Seema.